Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sleepover. I'm your host, Charli, and today we are with Caitlin.
Hello!
Your favorite wellness mama. We have actually a cool experience that we want to tell you about that we got to do together. We got tickets to the Amazeum. And that's the first thing I want to talk about.
It was super amazing.
It was amazing. We should talk about what the Amazeum is.
The Amazeum is this like one-of-a-kind children's museum. I've been to a couple children's museums, and this one takes the cake. Like it's really, really cool.
It's cool enough that cheapo Caitlin actually bought a membership.
Yes, I did. Well, my first year when we moved here, like that was like one thing that we did. We bought the membership, but then the second year that when the membership rolled over, that was COVID year, and I was like, we're not gonna go to the children's museum during plague.
Yeah, right.
But I've taken the kids a couple of times on like field trips and everything, and every time we go, we love it so much. It's one thing that would be worth getting a membership for sure, because it's awesome. The kids love it. Even my 16-year-old was happily participating.
He was like leading the pack.
Yes.
And it was actually kind of fun because we also went with my sister who has 4 kids. And my sister is more, I noticed my sister's more of a free-range parent than Caitlin is. Because when we first got there, her 17-year-old was like, Mom, I'm going to take the little one to the bathroom. And my sister, or Caitlin was like, oh, I'm not sure. Are you going to get kidnapped? Like, what, like, and she was like so worried about letting them go to the bathroom. And then like 15 minutes into the conversation, she's like, where are all your kids? To my sister, and my sister was like, oh, I don't know. They're somewhere around here. I know that they're in this area, and they told me they would stay close by, so they're probably fine. And Caitlin was just like, what? And I like watched her mind get blown, and then I saw Caitlin loosen up, and her 17-year-old could go to the bathroom by himself by the end of this trip.
I think that he was probably like 10 years old by the time he finally used the men's bathroom. You don't know what you'll see in there, son.
He's going to be a grown-up, like, in a matter of months.
He took the ACT last week. He's going to start applying for colleges, and I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. Yeah, I definitely am a helicopter parent. I was telling you the story about I was paranoid about old ladies trying to steal him whenever he was a baby. Yeah. I've never gotten over it, even though he could bench press me.
Yeah,
and I am
he's a grown up.
Just don't get lost, my sweet little womb fruit. Well, it gets crowded, and it was a weekend day that we went.
We went on a Saturday,
and I feel like it wasn't too crowded though. It wasn't too bad. You could see.
They have a new exhibit there, and so I think a lot of people were there for that.
Yes.
And it was really cool, actually.
Yes. I did like your sister's suggestion. So they had, when you first walk in, there was like a craft making station where you could make rockets, and you had to tape things together and cut things out. And she was like, I wish they had some that were pre-made for the kids that aren't making it, so I didn't have to make rockets by myself. And I was laughing because my oldest is sitting there making the rocket for the youngest, and I'm like, see, you just let them do it for each other.
Right? But, I mean, it was really cool. They had, like, these rockets that you could put together with paper, and then it was like a bike pump that they put it on. I'm, like, doing the motions, like, you guys can see me. There was, like, a bike pump that you would, like, put it on, and then, like, with a contraption that, like, was the size of the rocket, like, template, and then you, like, pumped it up, and then you released it, and that rocket went flying, and you're supposed to try and hit like the moon.
They had the moon, Earth, and Mars.
Mm-hmm.
The goal was to hit Mars, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, Caitlin's kids, they like put it together, and they were like pumping it so much, and the kid was like, not enough power, need more power, and then they pumped it so hard that they blew the top off of their rocket.
There was a malfunction. They went back to the drawing board and taped it on way better.
Yeah, it was pretty cute because he was like, more power!
We need more power. He wasn't the only kid that did that. The kid before them also had a little bit more zealous with their...
Yeah. It was definitely fun to watch. I normally don't get to go to those kinds of experiences because I don't have kids. But so I like, have you ever watched New Girl?
Yeah.
So you know, like, the Prince episode of New Girl?
The Prince one?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one.
So there's a Prince episode of New Girl, and like they're trying to get into this party at Prince's house. And they're like standing in the line, and there's like a security guard, and their name is not on the list. So they're trying to like figure out ways to get in. And one guy, he just like goes in the middle of a pack of hot girls, and the hot girls all get in. And he's like, I'm in the middle of the pack. I'm middle of the packing it. And then so like whenever I go to like children's museums or parks with like my friends that have kids, I'm like, I'm middle of the packing it. I'm middle of the packing it. So I feel like Schmidt in that time.
Oh my goodness. I can understand that would be difficult. I did homeschooling for a year, and we would do like homeschool meetups, and then the next year I'd put my kids into public school, and my friends were still meeting up for homeschool meetups, and I was like, but I don't have my kids with me. Can I still come hang out with you guys?
Are we surprised?
If I don't actually have my kids, can I come hang out? But
I ended up leaving before you, and then you ended up going to the Hershey lab with my sister. What was that like?
Oh, the Hershey lab. That is so much fun because you get to do experiments with candy. And I was so glad that she had picked up extra tickets because you have to, it's limited seating, and you have to kind of call dibs on it whenever you register. And it was perfect because my oldest helped with the like crushing of the icebreakers, and they learned about what was it? Was it a pH lesson? I think it was. I'm trying to remember exactly. They crushed up icebreakers, and then they added acid to it, and one of them fizzed up, kind of like a volcano of when you add baking soda and everything. And they learned that the fruity stuff had a higher pH, and then they got candy at the end, which they were really happy with. But it was great. They got to crush things. They got to add droppers of lemon juice, and they got to see things fizz. And they asked really good questions. You could tell that they were all learning.
So there was like a teacher person?
Yeah, it was mostly self-led. Like they had like a card that you followed with the different recipes, but then at the end they come to you and they ask a question. They're like, well, how do you think that we could make the reaction that didn't happen? What if we added a little bit of citric acid, which is lemon juice? And they all like, oh, I think it'll bubble when you do that. And it did. It was really fun, and I think that it was an experiment that you could do at home too.
Oh, cool.
It wasn't like you needed special equipment to do it, it was pretty cool. I would go again, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was fun getting to hang out with your sister. Mm-hmm. And it was really funny because she was like, I feel like I already know you because I've heard you on the podcast. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, her youngest daughter was at the table with us. So we got to help her do the experiment. She was really cute.
Yeah, she's so cute.
Watch her wielding a hammer, though, trying to crush the icebreakers was hilarious.
I think they go to the Home Depot thing pretty often.
Okay, so
I'm not sure, but I think they do.
She knows her way around a hammer.
Yeah.
And my kids did the water thing after that. They have like this huge water play area, which has fountains and balls, and they go all kinds of crazy ways. And it was so funny. I took a picture of them, and then a memory popped up from 3 years ago, and it was the same kids in the same water section, and they were both enjoying it just like they did. And I was like, it's funny how it always happens the same time of year. It's like you're living in repeat.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's like we're in patterns that we don't even realize.
Yeah, and I thought that was funny. I was like, you just were there, and then you were there 4 years ago. It was cute.
Cute.
Yeah, we
had a lot of fun.
Oh, and they had the cool little craft section.
Oh yeah. Okay, so when we were there, we had it was like a craft section for kids. Like they were makers that were kids,
children entrepreneurs,
and so they were selling all of their goods. And I always find a person who I just like put this energy out into the world, and people come and talk to me about cool things all the time. So like all of a sudden I like picked up button. I was like, do you know how to make buttons? And she was like, yeah, I made these buttons. They're really cool. I was like, I love them. They're awesome. Making buttons is like a really cool skill to have. Not a lot of people know how to do it. I know how to do it because I worked on my mom's campaigns, and I was the person that made all the buttons. And now like I can make buttons for my podcast and like all kinds of cool stuff. And then all of a sudden we got into conversations about buttons, and then her dad was there, and he was talking to me about buttons and like all the cool bands that he would make buttons for, and this dude. And anyways, it was like I talked to this dude for like 20 minutes about he worked in the music industry. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, you jumped down a rabbit hole, and I was like, Charli, come back.
Yeah, she ended up.
I was like, all right, I'm done.
But yeah, so it was pretty cool. I get to meet some cool people too.
It was cool. Yeah, you could always find some cool people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should definitely try to go back every time they have a new exhibit.
Yes, we'll make it a tradition.
You know, they have like an adult night there.
Yeah, I've been to one of them for educators before. Okay. But that it was like an adult night for educators.
So they were kind of boring.
No, it wasn't boring. It was just like more talking about strategies on how to educate and get kids excited about different things.
So it wasn't just like, let's have fun.
Yeah, I mean, but there was that part of it too. Yeah. It just wasn't, yeah. So, anyway, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, one time I went to an aquarium after dark for like a adult only event, and it was really, really cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Be in a building when you're not supposed to be, you know? It was fun.
When I was growing up, we used to do lock-ins at the library.
Oh, cool.
Because I was a
library kid. Though?
Yeah. I was a library kid. I'm exposing myself. All of a sudden I realized how weird and nerdy that is. But, so I was a library kid. I, was basically a feral child. I, roamed the streets of my hometown.
Like Matilda?
Yeah, basically like Matilda.
She goes to the library.
Yeah, except for without the magic.
Yeah.
But I would go to the library all the time, and the ladies at the library all knew me, and they were all they all treated me like aunts or whatever, and then eventually I grew up and I started working at the library when I was 14. But I participated in the teen programs, and every year the teen program would have a lock-in, and so we got to sleep in the library overnight, and it was fun.
So cool. Was it co-ed?
Yeah.
Did they separate you?
Yeah.
And they're like, boys, girls, go away.
But also, it was all the other library children. It wasn't it was we were all siblings.
So it wasn't the riffraff.
It was. I don't know. I mean, we were riffraff, but we were also just I don't know. It wasn't like that. But yeah, anyway.
So when are you going to do your next comedy show?
I don't know. Oh my gosh. Why did you bring that up? Yes.
I'm going to hold you to
it. I mean, yes, I will do it, but I have not made any plans for it, and I probably should do that if I'm going to do it again.
We should. I was listening to a comedy podcast on the way up here, and it always gives me the juice to go up. I'm like, I want to do it. Oh yeah, I got to get out there and do it again. That would be so fun.
And you probably just finished
I had just finished Ayla's podcast too, and so she was giving me what is it? FOMO. FOMO vibes. I was like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. she's really good too. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching her. That was really funny. She was really funny.
Yeah. Shout out to Ayla Sinclair.
Yeah.
And Jokes on Us Entertainment.
I just followed them too.
Yeah. So the other thing that we did this week is we went to Pod Circle.
Yes.
Well, I guess it was last week now.
Yeah.
But
that was fun.
It was fun. It was pretty cool. So we're doing a podcasting networking hour at the Fayetteville Public Library. It's on the fourth Thursday at 6 p.m., right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every month.
Every month until we're doing it for 6 months. So it's like a trial program, but if it's popular, they'll keep it going. So everyone should go. We'll talk to you all about podcasting.
If you're local to Northwest Arkansas and you want to do a podcast, or you like podcasts,
or you have a podcast,
come and eat some cookies.
Yeah.
I don't know if cookies will be there every time, but they were definitely there the first
time.
I
didn't know how many people to expect to come, so I always over plan.
She prepared for a whole entire wedding.
I brought way too many cookies. I still have them on my counter. Cole was like, "These are gross now. We should just throw them away." And I was like, "No, not yet. We're not ready."
You could put them in a little free pantry.
No, yeah, I guess that's true.
Somebody will eat them.
Yeah,
cookies don't go bad.
Yeah. Oh, literally, I got home from work. And I looked at the cookies, and there was one that had a bite out of it. I was like, "Bro, why did you take a bite and then put it back in the box?" He's like, "What? I didn't want it anymore." I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
toddler!" It's like my kids, they take a bite of an apple and then put it back, and then I'd have 6 apples with one bite.
He doesn't do that with fruit, thank goodness. Ugh. But occasionally there will be a half-eaten cookie that he decided he didn't want anymore.
Listen to your body,
but not threw it away after taking a bite out of it. Why not just take that one step? You have to open the container and close the container back up. That is harder than going to the garbage can.
The effort.
I don't know, man.
Oh my goodness.
Husbands are weird. So anyway, you should come to Pod Circle because I don't want to go home with this many cookies again.
Were you excited that there was at least a good turnout?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like nobody came. We should
yeah.
frame
no,
it
there
like
was there was a ton of
group,
people.
Yeah, there was a group of people there.
They were all cool people.
I just overplanned.
Yeah, we were expecting the masses.
Yeah,
them to be tearing down the door. And it's funny because I brought my license. I was like, we might need a library card. I don't know.
Dude, get a library card though. They showed me the Innovation Lab. It is so cool. Dude, did you know that there is a flight simulator there that you could just use if you have a library card?
And a 3D printer too.
A 3D printer, one of those vinyl machines, Glow Forge. They have a TV studio and then 2 podcast studios, and then they're transitioning another one into another podcast studio probably. And then they have not only the flight simulator, but they have a regular driving simulator, and then they have a truck driving simulator. What? And then they also have a heavy machinery simulator. And I feel like there was another simulator, but I was like, that's actually really cool for people to learn how to do things for real life stuff.
Do they have a tool rental thing?
Yeah, they do.
Where you could go and rent a saw or something.
Not for saws, but they in the Innovation Lab they did have things that you could take home, and it was I don't want to say influencer kit, but it was vlogging kit. They had a ring light and a camera.
That's cool.
And they have microphones and all kinds of stuff. They have a whole closet of stuff that she was showing me you could rent out. Before
the next Pod Circle meetup, we could try to book the podcasting studio and record in it.
I'm here
just
for
so
it.
that we can tell people about it.
Yeah.
And how easy it is to use.
Yeah, I'm so down. Let's do it.
All right.
We can do your podcast or my podcast.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be really fun.
And it's not only is it just a podcast studio, it's state of the art podcast studio. You walk in and it feels like you're in another dimension because all the sound is muffled and muted, you know?
That's cool.
Yeah. You don't hear the fan like you do in the background of mine.
Yeah, my shop is right next door to a dog grooming shop. So we have to record on Sundays, or we try to record on Sundays because that's when the dog groomer is closed. But there's a couple of episodes where you can hear some dogs in the background that aren't happy about getting their hair cut.
Oh, no. That's so sad.
It's definitely not a true recording studio, but you have a legit setup, the carpet.
Yeah, it doesn't look pretty, but it does the job. What I did is I went to so I got like, I think they're like 1x2s, and I built a square frame, and then I went to a carpet store, and I asked them if they had any weird shaped remnants that they would sell me, and they just gave it to me.
Nice.
So I just wrapped it around the square frame that I did, and it's like, I don't know, it's like 4 foot by 4 foot or something. And then I put them against, because there's 2 doors in this room, one to the outside and one to the inside of my house. And so I put them in front of those to like dampen the ambient noise.
Mm-hmm. It definitely beats my closet recording the last time. I was like, these clothes will dampen.
Clothes probably do a better job, honestly.
See, so maybe we should talk about that and be like, you can record podcasts in your closet. That's one thing that I wanted everybody to realize whenever we did the podcast festival last year. It felt like everybody was professionals. Like they all knew what they were doing.
Or rented space.
Or they had rental money to rent spaces. And I was like, we really need to speak to the people that are recording in their closets. Like the average. You can do this at home. You don't have to have anything special. Mm-hmm.
You could literally do it just on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I realized that because Casey had a podcast. I don't know if she still does, but it was like for her midwifery business.
Mm-hmm.
She would do recordings of a podcast, and they were all just on her phone. I don't know if it's still up or not, but
that's so cool.
So maybe people go look for it.
I've been talking about her business. I have a friend who is a doula and lactation consultant.
Yeah.
And she was looking at some sort of coaching program, and I was like, scratch that, check this out. So I sent her information. I hope that they connected.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think that she has some really cool resources that we definitely need to get out there. I wish she lived closer, but
yeah,
thank God for the
everybody
internet.
Peer pressure Casey to move here.
Casey,
go to her social media. Tell her to move to Northwest Arkansas.
Yes, we do monthly birth meetups, and we would love to have you there.
Speaking of your monthly birth meetups, what is going on at Wellness these days?
So we just added on. So we've been doing a monthly birth meetup, and that's for midwives, lactation consultants, doulas, pelvic floor therapists,
regular people wanting to talk to those people.
Yeah, and people thinking about being pregnant, thinking they already are pregnant, or maybe might want to, or just want to talk about birth, even if you have no interest in getting pregnant, like me. So we've been doing that every first Saturday of the month at 12, and we just added on a breastfeeding support group after.
Good.
So we have a local lactation consultant, and she was asking, how she could help increase, access to information in the community. And we're like, hey, we'd love for you to host, a breastfeeding support group here. Like, I don't have the capacity to do it, or I've breastfed kids, but I don't know how to teach people how to breastfeed their own kids. But if you want to come and facilitate that, we have space. Come, please. If you host it, they will come. And I personally, I met some of my very best friends at breastfeeding support groups.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, I would not have been successful with my breastfeeding my second baby had it not been for those breastfeeding support groups, because I actually had people that were in the trenches with me and were able to kind of share the wildness, because there's a lot of questions. And my mom breastfed for 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So she wasn't the resource for me. I was she was like, I don't know how to do it. And I breastfed my oldest. I had him very young. I was 17 when he was born. And I did breastfeed him for 5.5 months, almost 6 months, which is pretty unheard of to be a teen mom that breastfeeds. Mm-hmm. But I knew formula was expensive, and I did have
what's the root of everything with Caitlin?
It's too cheap for that. I'm way too cheap to go buy food when my body can make it for free. And you don't even have to do dishes after, That was the best. But I didn't have the support to continue doing it, because I didn't understand that if you aren't breastfeeding or pumping, that your supply is going to dip. Because I had gone back to school and I didn't carry around a cooler with me or a pump with me to college.
Or a baby.
Yeah, or the baby. The baby went to daycare, and I think the first few weeks I had tried to like pump enough milk for him, but when you're sending milk to daycare and they're feeding a breastfed baby, he's going to empty the whole bottle I couldn't keep up with the demand, especially considering I wasn't pumping while I was at school. So I stopped breastfeeding, and I didn't know what I missed until it was already gone, until he didn't wean himself.
You just were in the situation.
Right. And I knew that once it's gone, you couldn't get it back. That ship had sailed, and it really made me very sad. And so I knew that whenever my second came around, I had to breastfeed. I was like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to do it for a full year. I'm going to give it everything I've got. And so that's whenever I really dived in, found the support groups, found people that actually knew what they were talking about. And I got great resources, which was great because there was a thing, it's like formilk, hind milk imbalance or something, and you have to block feed. It was complicated. I was like, I don't know what's happening, but it worked all through it, and we figured it all out and ended up breastfeeding for like 18 months with that one.
Wow, good job.
He weaned when I got pregnant, because apparently your milk changes flavor when you get pregnant. I don't know. I didn't know that. And I've heard of a lot of people, they say they have no problem breastfeeding through pregnancy. There's no issue as long as everybody's happy. It's not an issue. Well, my milk turned salty, salty. And whenever my baby went to try to drink, he'd go, he was like, what is this? He was like, no. And I remember chasing him around like, I'm not done here, come back. And he was like, no, lady, that stuff's gross. So I thought that was really funny. I talk to people all the time. She's like, yeah, my kid didn't care.
Yeah. I think, every body is different.
That's true. But yeah, so I'm glad to be able to offer a breastfeeding support group for people in the community. And, that way they can all get the same resources that I had access to. Because, there's no groups here. There's no monthly meetups for that
if there
stuff.
is, we don't know about them.
They're not there. I'm telling you. I've joined all the groups on the Facebook. on the Facebook.
How old are we?
And it's what happens is that they get started and then people's babies grow up, and it's just a phase of life, where it's like, okay, well, we're not doing that anymore, and then it fades. But then there's all this these young moms that are coming up into, and they don't have that same support, and they don't really even know how to get that support because it's just a different world. I don't know.
There's not enough education in women's health, birth health, any of that. The whole entire, it's nobody wants to talk about it.
Exactly.
And I don't know why.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
So on that note, at the end of the month, on the 30th, we're going to have a puberty party. So I'm really, really excited about that because, again, it starts early. You really need to start talking about your body before all of this stuff. And I felt like I didn't have a good enough sex education. I didn't really know how my body worked or how any of, if I had known how to track my cycle, I think I would have been so empowered to understand what's happening. What does all the goo mean? What is, if I didn't even know that you could track your cycle, or there was a specific time of your cycle that you actually can get pregnant.
Or not even just get pregnant, but there's different times of your cycle that you can be more productive and get things checked off your list, or times that you need to listen and take a break, or whatever, times that you can work out and see more results, or just so many things. It's not just about getting pregnant or not getting pregnant.
There's so much more to it. I was following this account and she was talking about how entrepreneurs can use their tracking to help figure out there's certain times of the month where it's better to like write your copy, and there's certain times of the month to take your pictures this time, like, and then, make sure you don't overschedule during this time, so recognizing those patterns would have been huge, paramount to my personal education. And I laugh because I didn't see a model of a pelvis until after I'd already had all my children. Yeah. And I was like, this would have been helpful to see, and
understand.
The 360.
In Casey's office, Casey doesn't have her office anymore, but when Casey had her office, she had up on the shelf, she had 2 models that she had made of uteruses, one of a non-menstruating and one of a menstruating, and they are like, your menstruating uterus is like double the size of your non-menstruating uterus. Wow. And you could like hold it in your hand and it was like to scale.
Oh, that's really neat. See, that would be very helpful to see, and I'm excited to hopefully expose these young girls to a more holistic perspective and learn about all those things.
Casey, send Caitlin a picture of your uteruses.
Yes, I would like to visualize my poor bleeding uterus.
But yes, it's important to have these like community meetings and like just talk about it, because that's the only way we're going to shift the culture around it.
Yep. And so like, being a community-based entrepreneur, we have to have all of this access for the community, for people to learn, for people to educate themselves, and for people to grow. Another cool thing that we're doing, on the 16th of March, we're having the community meetup. So we call it the Wellnest Mamas community meetup, but that's just because we're the Wellnest Mamas. It's not, you don't have to be a mama, you can just be a human. Like, there's no obligation to have children.
Children or be any specific gender.
Yeah, right. Just show up. I mean, it'll be fun. Guaranteed. But we have a special guest, Hallie Sanger. She's been on my podcast once, and I know I've talked about her a couple times on this podcast. She does authentic relating, which is basically like how to human, Yeah. So it's going to be a free event, totally free. Come in, and she's going to talk about self-love and, relating to other people and maybe relating to yourself. So that will be really, really fun if you ever wanted to do a free event, and this is your time, because most of her events are paid. So
yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Go see what it's all about.
Yes. And we always do. We've been doing a sourdough class like once a month, so that's on the books. If you want to check out our events, you can just go to the Facebook page for the Wellnest shop. That's Wellnest with a T, like a bird nest. And if you want to open up a Wellnest in your community, just holler at me.
Yeah, right? It's actually a really cool shop. I actually went there for the first time because we were having our meeting for the podcast committee for planning the podcast festival in the space back there, and so that was my first time in your shop.
Yeah,
and it's really cute. You guys should go.
It's fun. Yes.
Although I will say your Instagram makes it look bigger than it is in real life. It's actually more quaint and cute and cozy.
It is giant. No, little bitty. Yeah, no, it fits a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
And I'm excited because we're definitely going to be sponsoring the podcast festival.
Yeah. So, well, being a sponsor, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
That's cool. Yay.
We really want to increase all the cool stuff that we're doing and want other people to do it too. I love the podcast movement. I love the fact that it's being considered art. And I would do it.
Well, yeah, you were talking about
my art thing. Yeah. So only recently have I ever identified as an artist or a creative person. I'm a scientist. Or maybe I've always been an artist, and then I was told that I needed to have like a real job. I don't know. Or your parents.
Well, I think it's easy to identify, like latch onto one identifier and then just like hold on to that for a long time. And I think that served you for a really long time.
It did. It served me for a long time, and I latched onto it because I thought that I needed to have a title to prove my worth. And so I've basically been deconstructing this whole process. I've been doing the artist's way. This is a book. It's by, I want to say her name is Julia Cameron. If I'm wrong,
we'll Google it and put it in the notes.
But I'm pretty sure that's right. But she is a playwright or a movie maker of some sort, and she came up with this process called the Artist's Way, where it's a weekly, you have to read a chapter every single week, and it's a 12-week program, and every morning you have to write 3 pages. Morning pages is what they're called, and it's supposed to be done when you first wake up. You just write whatever comes to your head.
Mm-hmm.
Just get
3
it
pages?
3 pages,
That's
yes.
so many pages.
It's a lot. It is a lot. It takes me about 45 minutes. She says it should take 30 minutes, but I write slow, I guess. I don't know. It takes me about 45 minutes.
I would have like 2-inch by 2-inch pages.
Well, and no, it's a full book because it's like there's some quotes on the page which kind of take up a little bit of room, but no, it's like a full-size page. But the idea is that you're just kind of writing whatever comes to your head. It's not meant to be read. It's not meant to be written like a book, and it doesn't even have to make sense. Like, you can start with one sentence and then squirrel to another, like, so it's been interesting to see what comes up, and it kind of gets a lot of the chaos in your brain out, and then the rest of the day, you're good. You've already dealt with the anxiety or the stress, but then there's tasks. They assign tasks at the end of every chapter, and it's always something really deep. Like they dig out. They asked, "Oh, what did your childhood bedroom look like? And how does that make you feel?" And you're like, "Oh," and I realized I was like, "Oh my goodness, my childhood bedroom." My very first childhood bedroom was purple, and we toured a plantation in Louisiana, and one of the rooms was purple, and there was a lady that died in it. And so for whatever reason, I just took on that my room was probably haunted because it was also purple.
Oh my gosh. I think you jumped to a couple of conclusions.
I did.
Old ladies are going to steal your sign. Your room is haunted because it's purple.
It's purple, just like the plantation, so it's got to be a thing. But we moved out of that house, and then when we moved again, my mom let me paint my bedroom whatever color I wanted, and she let me do murals on the wall. I did red and black paint, made big, huge polka dots, black and white checkerboards. I had a huge, emo quote on the wall.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was going in a very emo direction.
It was very emo. I was like, I used to wear the things, the arm sleeves, the arm socks.
Oh, yeah. Arm socks.
Arm socks. And I loved the Hot Topic store. Mm-hmm. If I would have been cool enough, I'd have probably been one of those, wild hair people with the craziness, Mm-hmm. That would have been cool.
I was never that cool.
No, I was not that cool either. I just got the arm socks. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I went to Warped Tour once, too. That was fun.
You're far cooler than I am.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I always wanted to go, and all my friends were going, and everyone my age was going, and I was like, I want to go, but then my parents were not going to let that happen.
I went with my friend's parents. She drove us all, a group of 4 girls. So my mom had no idea, And it was funny because you asked me to go to a concert last night, and I was thinking to myself, I don't really like concerts. I'm like, why did I go to that? It was fun, but it wasn't. They're just big crowds.
It's what all of the emo kids were doing in the early 2000s.
Yeah. The one show that I really wanted to see when we went was the Casualties, and I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I don't know if I have.
The Casualties are a real punk band, mohawks, 3 feet tall, and it was crazy. I had never seen a mosh pit before, saw one there, and realized this is dangerous. Luckily, it was a big field, so we were able to not actually be a part of it. But yeah, I haven't really gone to very many concerts since then. I've avoided them mostly since being a parent.
Dude, you just gotta go the right way.
Yeah.
I think that you decided it was dangerous because you went to the dangerous one.
I did.
You just gotta go to the regular one, and I think you'll like it. But if you were trying to get sold on concerts, maybe not the free concert series. at the casino.
It was at the casino? Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. But even though it was the free concert series at the casino, it was Everclear.
Yeah.
Do you know who Everclear is?
They're like a big band, right?
Yeah, they were like their most famous song that I think is like Father of Mine.
Yeah, Father of
Yeah.
Mine.
Where have you been?
I probably would have liked that. That
Yeah.
would have been fun.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
there was probably like 200 people, if that, like
Oh, really?
150, 200
Oh.
people there. Yeah, it was real small.
That's legit.
Yeah.
My favorite concert I ever went to was who's the guy? He was in Hootie and the Blowfish, but he sings on his
Darius
own.
Rucker.
Yes, it was a free concert, Darius Rucker, and it was just so much fun because we were like dancing. We had enough. He made it really fun. I don't love him or anything. I think he got wasted. That's actually, I've seen him in concert twice. The second time I ever saw him was at a convention, and he got wasted. He was like plastered on the and I was like, okay. But the first time I saw him, it was really fun.
I mean, if you think about it, you have to like go in front of a lot of people and do a thing.
Yeah.
We were just talking to Colton about this because we're trying to peer pressure him and Jed to start a podcast.
Yes.
And he was like, I just can't talk like you guys talk. I was like, he's like, I get in front of people and I get clammed up. And I was like, that's the best part. Podcasting, you're just doing it in your room and no one is really there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that there are people that are listening to this, but I'm like, oh, those are people that, like, they're just cool people, you know? Like,
yeah.
And I don't actually have to talk to people to their face. I just feel more, like, comfortable. I'm just here talking to my friend Caitlin.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I don't know, maybe not every podcast is like that, but, like, the nature of this podcast is, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
That's
just supposed to be...
Yeah, I love this podcast because it's just normal conversation. It's just fun. There's no agenda.
no agenda. There's
Yeah.
no, like, theatrics to it.
Right.
There's no, like, I don't know. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No editing.
Yes.
Which is scary at first, but then you're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, you just know. You have to save certain stories for when the recording button is off. No, I'm just kidding.
But I did text my sister because I knew about Everclear because it's probably like not a lot of my peers knew about it, but all of my siblings are 8 years older or more than I am. So I kind of was like exposed to the things that they were doing when they were teenagers, and I was like a baby.
Yes.
So like, my sister was a big fan of Everclear, and that's why I knew about Everclear, and I got influenced to like them because of her. So I was always, like, older than my time and, like, liking a little things that were maybe cool 5 years ago or whatever.
I can relate to that for sure. I had an older brother, and I always wanted to be cool like him.
Yeah.
Never happened. No, I'm just kidding. I just found out that my brother is doing stand-up comedy.
What?
And I'm pretty upset about it because that was supposed to be my thing, and then he's just going to go and, like, be really cool at it.
Yeah. I mean, but is he on a podcast?
He's not on a podcast, but he's on the news.
But he's still not on a podcast.
He's not on a podcast. That's true. That's true. I got my own podcast, and I did comedy first, just so that everybody knows he was copying me.
Let the record show.
Yes. My mom, she went to one of his shows, and she's like, y'all will have to do it together. And I was like, I will never do comedy in front of you.
That's not the vibe, man.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't think that you would, I have too many not jokes that I want you to hear.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Even with the podcast, I'm like, like, people in my real life don't need to know that I have a podcast.
Yes. See, my podcast is so, like, professional. I don't ever really get to share, like, the funny parts of me or, like, the weird stories and stuff. I feel like people probably think I'm more professional than I really am. I'm like, somehow this turned into kind of like a nice thing, and I'm really just a hoot. So I like this because I can kind of share a little bit of the reality.
Yeah, the real Caitlin.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do like a Wellness Mamas at Night.
After dark.
After dark, yeah.
I have thought about doing like my friend Angela. Have you listened to any of her episodes?
Angela.
She is cocktail mixologist, like a mobile cocktail
but I need
mixologist.
to go back and listen to some.
Yeah, I have thought about like having her like do a lesson on like different stuff, and then like
it could be at the actual sleepover.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah, we should. Okay, we've got to get on planning this actual sleepover. In between planning like a conference for 300 to 500 people, and
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna be on stage? Do you imagine yourself being on stage?
I mean, I always imagine myself doing the stuff in the background that nobody thinks about and everybody takes for granted, because that's where I do the best work. At least I think. But I am becoming more and more comfortable on stage and being the talent in like marketing and promotional and stuff, because I have to do it a lot for work.
That's so cool.
I mean, it's cool to say that, but it's also like it's tricky, because you never know. Like I don't know. It's just tricky. It's a tricky thing.
It's hard. I had to learn a lot about marketing and all that stuff, like figuring out social media and how to tell people about fun things. And it's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's easier when it's not necessarily you. Like it's like it's not, oh, this is the Caitlin show. You know?
Yeah. Well, I will say that it is easier because I'm not saying it's my stuff. It's like, it's different for you because it's like your store. Mine, it's like I'm like saying things that are going on that like is according to a brand. Like, you know, like it's not, it's, I mean, I guess yours is a brand too, but it's like your brand. Mine is like the brand of like, something much bigger.
Right. That's true. Yeah, it's nice to be able to have the authority. I told myself I couldn't work for anybody anymore. I have too much fire in me. I've only been fired from one job though, actually.
Oh, you should tell me about it.
I worked at a hookah bar.
Oh, okay. That is not what I was expecting you to say you got fired from.
Yeah, I know.
What do you have to do to get fired from a hookah bar?
So apparently just be a girl and talk back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah.
I almost got fired for that once too.
Yeah. They don't like that. It was a great job. I could waitress before I was 18 because they didn't serve alcohol. But I could fix your little hookah thing, no problem.
Yeah, right?
I think it was tobacco.
You never know.
Yeah. But that was fun. But yeah, that was the only job I ever got fired for. It was kind of embarrassing, but it's a fun story now.
Tell us the story.
So I was a waitress. So you get paid $2 an hour, right? You know, and essentially you work for the people that are sitting at the tables. You know, they're the ones who are actually going to tip you and give you money, not the restaurant owner, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it was getting late and he wanted me to sweep up, but I still had a table that was seated and I didn't want to sweep around the table because I felt like that was kind of rude, you know, like because it's like insinuating like hurry up and get out, you know, which take just as much time as you want, you know, like
you're gonna pay me more money,
right, exactly. If I'm kind to you, like, you know. And I was like, no, I'll sweep over here, not near my table, like this section, but not there. I'm gonna wait. I don't want to sweep that table. And he was like, I tell you what to do, and if you don't listen, then you can just leave. So I left.
Wow.
Like it was just, that was it. And I was like, okay, got fired. That's the only time I've ever been fired.
I've only gotten fired one time, but it was because of political reasons.
Oh, no.
And so it was because my mom was running a campaign, and anyway, it was a whole thing. And they didn't even fire me. They called my house. I answered the phone, and they said, is your mom there? And then they told my mom that I was fired.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like 15 years old. Yeah. Is how much little respect do you have to have that they didn't even fire you, they fired your mom?
Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was because somebody had gone around town saying rumors about something, and then on top of that, they didn't like my mom's political stances on things.
Oh, well. Boo.
Yeah, small town politics.
I never tell people anything about my political beliefs, mostly because I don't really have very strong political beliefs.
Yeah, I know. I don't either. I like do not believe that we should have political parties anymore.
Yeah, they kind of are a bunch of
I mean,
jokes.
we could still do the electoral college or whatever, but like we don't need political parties. That's when like we were taking things around on horses, like,
or at least the debate should be more than just two parties.
Yeah,
like, can we have all of the people?
That are I think that our generation is gonna change it because we understand podcasting, we understand social media, we understand all these things more than anybody else, and like maybe in the like generations before, the only access you had to candidates was through the mainstream media.
True.
But that's just not true anymore. You have access to all different kinds of candidates now. So, like, if people can, like, sell out, like, if Taylor Swift can sell out stadiums by, like, her own brand or whatever, like, why could not somebody else from our generation also sell out stadiums in a different kind of way, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that one thing that I really, really love about podcasting is that it gives you a voice. And something that I feel is very important when you live in America is that we have the freedom of speech. We can say whatever we want. And I feel like having your own platform to be able to say whatever you want is just like an extreme exercise of freedom, you know? And we need to start talking and really, really discussing and making the world the place that we always dreamed of. Because I do believe that we were kind of lied to and thinking, oh, you can do anything. And it's like, well, wait a minute. No, we really can, and we will. And I agree that our generation will probably be the ones to actually make sense of it all. You know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, it is an election year, so everybody start doing your homework and figure out who you want to vote for. I don't care who it is, just vote for somebody.
Yeah, and I'm really disappointed that I don't live. My parents live in a different state. So I usually be like, hey, Dad, what do I need to do? And now I'm like, Dad, can you research Arkansas?
Well, there's a voting period going on. I went to vote, and I was the only person my age there.
Really?
So,
yeah.
I was like, that freaks me out. I was like, if we're only, like, listening to people who do not have the same life problems that I have, I'm not sure that my views are going to get represented.
Yeah. We had a guy come to our house that's running for, I don't know, like a representative of some sort. And he sent us a Christmas card. He came to the house, knocked on the door. And, like, I see his name everywhere, and I'm like, I guess I'll vote for that guy.
Yeah.
He's been to my house. I don't know. It doesn't take very much to get my vote. I'm like, he sent me a Christmas card.
Thing of voting. You just, people will vote for who they've shaken the hand of.
Yeah, I've seen his face. He seemed nice. I don't know.
So, we can do it. We can change voting.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. We can do it. I do vote. I definitely go vote. And I recommend you do it too. I don't believe that it's
since my viewer or my listenership is like, I could tell that through the analytics that it's like people who are, my biggest group is like 25 to 40 is my biggest group, and that's like, I feel like the smallest group of voters.
Do you think it's because we've kind of and I was just talking with Jed about this. I was like, you really should do a podcast about getting your head out of the sand. Because I think that with a lot of this stuff, I don't know what's going on, so I've never felt educated enough to actually discuss or, impart my opinion, because I don't know enough about the history. I don't know enough about world politics and all of this stuff that I feel silly if I even try to say, well, what I think is, like, we really need to take our heads out of the sand.
But you own a business.
I
like,
know,
you know enough, like, that you could, like, your
about
head is out of the sand.
Though, I don't know anything. Like,
that's the thing politics? Is these people that are in office, they don't know either.
Yeah, they're just there
or something. Yeah, they just understand the law.
Yeah,
and you understand a lot of laws, and the other thing you understand is budgets.
Oh yeah,
and that's an important part of being a politician.
Don't spend any money. I'd be a great politician.
So I'm just saying, you know more than you think you do.
Yeah, I need to give myself a little bit more credit. Yeah, if anybody has any advice on where to find more information about, like, I want unbiased information about,
dude,
like,
I do. I have a, like, if you want to, a person I follow on Instagram, it's like hard to find what his political party is. And he's a representative, he's a congressman from, I think, North Carolina. I can't even tell what side he's on by, like, what he's saying. He just, like, deadpan basically reads, like, today we voted on this bill. This is what this bill says. I voted, or, like, I don't even say if he says the way that he votes or whatever. But he's like, there was this many votes for Republicans and this many votes for Democrats, and it passed or didn't pass. Like, it's just, like, straight. And his name's, I think, Jeff Jackson. Let me pull it up on Instagram.
Yeah, pull him up, because I love stuff like that. I recently started listening to this podcast, and I'm almost certain, I was so sad, I'm certain that it's been, like, shadow banned or something. Yep, Jeff Jackson.
Jeff Jackson NC is his Instagram. But that's why I like him, is because he'll, like, pop up in my feed and it'll just be like flat. Like, he doesn't, it's not like,
there's no color to it.
Yeah. There, you don't, I don't even know, like, what side he's on.
So the podcast that I've been listening to is called Congressional Dish. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. She's a waitress, and she digs into Congress. So she watches C-SPAN, breaks it down. I feel in a relatively unbiased. She even says on her thing, she's like, "I'm biased. Everybody's biased. And if you say you're not biased, you're lying." And I'm like, all right, cool. At least she, like, tells you what her biases are. But I like it because she kind of breaks it down in, like, layman's terms, and, like, this is what this means, and this is crazy. But it's really, really interesting. But I feel like the amount of work that she's done, and it's all ad free because she asks for, like, you to pay for her Patreon or whatever, you know, like, it's not like it. But she does it all just for the good of doing all the research, and it's interesting stuff. If you're trying to learn about politics and you need it to be simplified, I think it's a good one.
Yeah,
you know,
that sounds like a good resource. I don't care one way or the other. I really do not, like, feel like I identify with either party. I think that we should not have parties. But I just I mostly, like, just identify with, like, I feel this way about this issue. I feel this way about this issue. I feel this way about this issue. And as long as you're as close as possible, I don't care what party you're from.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they feel one way, and like, especially, I don't know, like, the abortion issue. I've talked about this with my mom because she's anti-abortion, and I obviously don't, like, I'm not, like, pro-abortion. I don't really kill them all. No. But I was like, there is no resources for families. You can't force people to have babies whenever there's no help once the baby's there. You know, like, there's nothing. And a lot of people that are choosing not to, it's because they're in terrible situations that they just can't, you know, or maybe it's an abusive situation. Maybe it's, you don't know. And it's trying to explain that to someone who literally has no clue about how hard it is, you know, and it's like, there's way too much nuance. Help. Yeah, there's so much nuance. And I don't know if you've been watching the news about the, like, IVF stuff in Alabama.
I try not to.
Oh my God. I was like, why are we doing this? Is crazy.
I think I don't really, like, I can't speak to like, abortion or not abortion or whatever. Like, my main thing is, like, I just don't think that the government should have say over what does or doesn't happen with my body. Yes. And that's why I don't understand why, like, people who were, like, anti-vaxxers, like, their whole argument was based on arguments that, like, they were for abortion, but those people don't seem like they're...
No, they're against abortion.
Yeah, like, right? It doesn't make sense to me that, like, you're fighting for the right to not put something in your body, and we're fighting for the same thing. Like, I don't understand how we're not
both.
You should be both. Like, I don't know. I didn't mean to get political, but, like,
no, well, it's
like, my thing is, I just don't think that the government doesn't have enough it's too much control for the government to have control over anything that has to do with the human body.
Mm-hmm. You have to have consent, and forced legislatures not providing consent.
Yeah. Anyway, we got way too political.
No, we just said we don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
But
anyway, that seems like a pretty good place to stop. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to talk about?
No, I think we covered it all, and then some.
Okay,
have fun with that one.
Follow the Wellness Mama podcast. Go to the events that are going on. Where do you want people to look out for you?
I'm on Instagram. You can find me at Living Caitlin. That's Living Caitlin. And send me a message if you found me through the podcast, so I'm not because I probably won't follow you back unless I know you're a real person.
Right. You can go to sleepoverpod.com if you want to find out more information about the podcast or get in contact with me for any reason. You can follow the Instagram that I have, and then there's also a TikTok that I malnourish all the time. But other than that, I'm reachable. Get a hold of me if you want to talk about sleepover stuff.
Oh, okay. you can put the moonwalk on the TikTok.
Yeah, we're gonna put Okay, well, thanks so much. Have a good day. Love you. Bye.